The Darvaza gas crater, also known as the Door to Hell or the Gates of Hell, and officially named the Shining of Karakum, is a burning natural gas field that collapsed into a cavern near the village of Darvaza, Turkmenistan. Hundreds of natural gas flames light up the floor and edges of the crater, which has been continuously burning since 1971. The blaze reportedly began after drilling operations punctured an underground gas pocket, causing the roof to collapse. Some sources suggest that engineers intentionally ignited the gas to prevent the release of toxic fumes into the environment. The crater lies in the heart of the Karakum Desert, approximately 260 kilometers, 160 miles, north of Ashgabat, Turkmenistan's capital. It measures 60-70 meters, 230 feet, in diameter and is about 30 meters, 98 feet deep. A second, nearby gas crater, which is fenced off, is also active and known for its strong odor. The early history of the Darvaza crater remains unclear. Relevant documentation is either missing, classified, or unavailable. Some local geologists claim the initial collapse occurred in the 1960s, with the site set ablaze in the 1980s to prevent gas emissions. Others argue that Soviet engineers drilled the site in 1971 in search of oil, but the ground collapsed shortly after, forming the crater. Believing the gas leak to be temporary, engineers set it on fire, underestimating the sheer volume of gas underground. In April 2010, President Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedow called for measures to limit the crater's impact on the development of other natural gas reserves in the region. Later, in January 2022, he announced plans to extinguish the crater, citing its harmful effects on health, the environment, and the gas industry. A government commission was established to explore possible methods of extinguishing the fire. Despite these efforts, the crater remains active and continues to burn. In 2025, authorities reported that the size of the fire had decreased threefold, thanks to new wells drilled around the site to capture escaping methane. However, the crater still stands as a dramatic symbol of the power and danger of untapped natural resources. Blood Falls is a striking outflow of iron-3 oxide-rich saltwater that seeps from the tip of Taylor Glacier, spilling onto the frozen surface of West Lake Bonny in Taylor Valley, located within the McMurdo Dry Valleys of Victoria Land, East Antarctica. This iron-laden, hypersaline water occasionally emerges through small cracks in the glacier's ice, creating a dramatic red cascade. The source of the salty water is a subglacial reservoir of unknown size, buried beneath approximately 400 meters, 300 feet of ice, and situated several kilometers away from the visible outflow known as Blood Falls. The reddish flow was first discovered in 1911 by Australian geologist Thomas Griffith Taylor, the first to explore the valley now named after him. Early Antarctic explorers initially believed the red color was caused by red algae, but it was later confirmed to be the result of oxidized iron in the water. Salar de Uyuni is the largest salt flat in the world, covering an area of approximately 10,582 square kilometers, 4,086 square miles. Located in the Daniel Campos province of Potosí in southwestern Bolivia, it lies near the crest of the Andes Mountains at an elevation of 3,656 meters, 11,995 feet above sea level. The salt flat was formed through a series of transformations among several prehistoric lakes that existed around 40,000 years ago and gradually evaporated. Today, it is covered by a thick salt crust, only a few meters deep, with a surface so remarkably flat that elevation variations are less than 1 meter across the entire expanse. Beneath the crust lies a vast pool of brine, exceptionally rich in lithium, making the area one of the world's most important lithium reserves. Thanks to its enormous size, clear skies, and geometric flatness, Salar de Uyuni is frequently used to calibrate the altimeters of Earth observation satellites. After rainfall, a shallow, perfectly still layer of water forms on the surface, turning the flat into the largest natural mirror on Earth, stretching over 129 kilometers, 80 miles across. In addition to its geological and scientific significance, the Salar also serves as a major transport route across the Bolivian Altiplano and acts as an important breeding ground for flamingo species. It also marks a climatological transition zone. During the summer, towering tropical clouds such as cumulus congestus and cumulonimbus incus form on the eastern side of the salt flat, but are often blocked from advancing westward by the drier air near the Chilean border and the Atacama Desert. Salar de Uyuni has also captured the imagination of filmmakers and has served as a location in several films, including Star Wars: The Last Jedi, 2017, where it portrayed the planet Crate, as well as The Fall, 2006, Salt and Fire, 2016, The Unseen, 2017, and others. Spotted Lake, known as Lake Kiluk in the Nishilskin language, is a saline, enderhaic alkali lake located northwest of Osoyoos in the eastern Similkameen Valley of British Columbia, Canada. It is accessible via Highway 3. Spotted Lake is exceptionally rich in minerals, containing dense deposits of magnesium sulfate, calcium, and sodium sulfates. In addition, the lake holds high concentrations of 8 other minerals, along with trace amounts of silver and titanium. During the summer months, most of the lake's water evaporates, revealing a striking mosaic of colorful mineral deposits. Large spots form on the lake's surface, with colors varying depending on the mineral composition and the seasonal level of precipitation. The crystallization of magnesium sulfate, which occurs during the heat of summer, is a primary factor influencing these unique color patterns. As the minerals harden, they form natural walkways between and around the spots. Originally called Kulil XW in the Nsilatkan language of the Silex, Okanagan First Nation, Spotted Lake has been revered for centuries as a sacred site, believed to have healing properties due to its mineral-rich waters. During World War I, minerals from the lake were even harvested for use in ammunition manufacturing. For about 40 years, the land around the lake was under the ownership of the Ernest Smith family. In 1979, Smith attempted to generate interest in developing a spa at the site. In response, the Silex First Nation initiated efforts to reclaim the lake. In October 2001, they succeeded in purchasing 22 hectares, 54 acres, of land for $720,000, contributing about 20% of the cost. The remaining amount was covered by the Department of Indian Affairs. Today, a roadside sign informs visitors that Spotted Lake is both a culturally and ecologically sensitive area and a traditional medicine lake for the Silex people. The lake can be respectfully viewed from a fence erected to protect the area and restrict public access for safety and preservation. Nagoro, now famously known as Nagoro Doll Village, is a small settlement located in the Iya Valley on the island of Shikoku in Tokushima Prefecture, Japan. The village is renowned for its large number of realistic life-size dolls placed throughout the area, transforming it into an unusual and fascinating tourist attraction. Nestled along Route 439 in a remote mountainous region, Nagoro once had a population of around 300 people. However, due to Japan's aging and declining rural population, that number had dropped to 35 by January 2015, 30 by August 2016, and just 27 by September 2019. The doll tradition began in the early 2000s, when Tsukumi Ayano, who had left Nagoro as a child, returned to care for her aging father. As a tribute, she crafted a doll in his likeness and placed it in a field. What started as a personal expression soon grew into a village-wide transformation. Over time, Ayano created more than 400 dolls, including replacements, with about 350 currently placed around the village. Some represent former or current residents, while others are entirely fictional characters. Inspired by Ayano, other villagers also contributed to the project. The village school, which closed in 2012, is now filled with dolls, 2 of which are self-portraits of the final students, dressed in their own clothing and seated in a classroom. Elsewhere, dolls depict a range of scenes: 3 men seated at the base of a telephone pole, a man fishing in the river, a group waiting at a bus stop, and utility workers repairing a road. These life-size figures breathe a unique spirit into the otherwise quiet village. The nearby Nagoro Dam, completed in 1961, contributes to the region's hydroelectric power generation. In 2020, Nagoro gained international attention when it was featured in the final episode of James May, Our Man in Japan, where a scarecrow modeled after James May himself was crafted in his honor. The Crooked Forest is a grove of unusually shaped Scots pine trees, located in the village of Nowoksarnowo, near the town of Gryfino, in West Pomerania, northwestern Poland. It is recognized as a protected natural monument of the country. At the time these trees were planted, the area was part of the German province of Pomerania. Approximately 400 pine trees were planted around the year 1930. Each tree displays a distinctive shape. The trunk bends sharply to the north just above ground level, then gradually curves upward, creating a sideways arch spanning 1 to 3 meters, 3 to 9 feet. These curved pines are surrounded by a forest of tall, straight pine trees, and they typically grow to a height of about 15 meters, 50 feet. It is widely believed that some kind of human intervention or technique was used to shape the trees in this way. However, the exact method remains unknown and continues to be a subject of speculation. Some theories suggest the trees were intentionally manipulated to produce naturally curved wood for furniture or boat building. Others propose a heavy snowstorm may have deformed the trunks during their early growth, though there is little evidence to support this. The Crooked Forest was featured in Season 1, Episode 4 of The Unexplained on the History Channel, in an episode titled Unnatural Nature, which first aired on August 9, 2019. Today, the site is open to the public and serves as a unique tourist attraction in the region. Devil's Tower is a striking, igneous rock formation known as a butte and laccolith, located in the Bear Lodge Ranger District of the Black Hills, near the towns of Hewlett and Sundance in Crook County, northeastern Wyoming. Towering above the Belfourche River, it rises 1,067 feet, 386 meters, above the river and stands 867 feet, 264 meters, from base to summit. The elevation at the summit is 5,112 feet, 1,558 meters above sea level. Designated on September 24, 1906 by President Theodore Roosevelt, Devil's Tower became the first United States national monument. The protected area encompasses approximately 1,347 acres, 545 hectares. The name Devil's Tower dates back to 1875, during an expedition led by Colonel Richard Irving Dodge. According to reports, an interpreter mistranslated a Native American name, rendering it as Bad God's Tower. As a result, the formation was labeled Devil's Tower. Following U.S. geographic naming standards, all official signage omits the apostrophe, displaying it as Devil's Tower. In 2005, a proposal was made to acknowledge the site's indigenous significance by also designating it Bear Lodge National Historic Landmark. However, U.S. Representative Barbara Kubin opposed the move, arguing that a name change could negatively impact tourism and cause economic hardship for local communities. Later, in November 2014, Arvol Looking Horse formally proposed renaming the formation Bear Lodge, submitting the request to the United States Board on Geographic Names. A second proposal followed, requesting official recognition of the offensive misinterpretation and renaming the monument to honor its sacred significance to Native American tribes. A public comment period ended in fall 2015, but the name remained unchanged, largely due to opposition from figures such as State Senator Ogden Driscoll. The island of the Dolls is a chinampa, a type of artificial island, located in the Laguna de Tequila, within the canals of Xochimilco, south of downtown Mexico City, Mexico. The island is famous for the hundreds of dolls of various styles and colors that hang throughout the area. Local legends and eerie stories surrounding the dolls, as well as the island's reclusive former caretaker, Don Julian Santana Barrera, have made it a popular destination for dark tourism. In 2022, Guinness World Records officially recognized the island as home to the world's largest collection of haunted dolls. In the mid-20th century, Barrera began collecting dolls and hanging them around the island, reportedly to ward off evil spirits. The island gained early attention in 1943, when acclaimed Mexican director Emilio Fernandez chose it as the filming location for his movie Maria Candelaria. Following Barrera's death in 2001, his family opened the island to the public as a tourist attraction. Today, in addition to the hundreds of weathered and decaying dolls, visitors can explore 3 small huts and a modest museum, which features newspaper clippings and artifacts related to the island and its former owner. Inside the one-room hut where Barrera used to sleep, visitors can see the first doll he ever collected, along with Agustina, said to be his favorite. The island of the Dolls is accessible by traineras, traditional gondola-like boats used in the canals of Xochimilco. While most boat operators are willing to take visitors to the island, some refuse out of superstition. A typical journey often includes stops at the ecological area, the Aguilote Museum, the Apatlaco Canal, the Techuilo Lagoon, and the nearby island of La Llorona. The Giant's Causeway is a geological formation consisting of approximately 40,000 interlocking basalt columns created by an ancient volcanic fissure eruption. It is part of the North Atlantic Igneous Province, which was active during the Paleogene period. The site is located in County Antrim on the north coast of Northern Ireland, about 3 miles, 4.8 kilometers, northeast of the town of Bushmills. In 1986, the Giant's Causeway was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and in 1987, it was declared a National Nature Reserve by the Department of the Environment for Northern Ireland. In a 2005 poll conducted by Radio Times readers, it was voted the 4th greatest natural wonder in the United Kingdom. The tops of the basalt columns form natural stepping stones that extend from the base of the cliff and disappear into the sea. While most of the columns are hexagonal, some have 4, 5, 7, or even 8 sides. The tallest columns reach up to 12 meters, 39 feet in height, and the solidified lava cliffs are up to 28 meters, 92 feet thick in some areas. A significant portion of the Giant's Causeway and Causeway Coast World Heritage Site is owned and managed by the National Trust. It remains one of the most visited natural attractions in Northern Ireland, drawing more than 998,000 visitors in 2019. Access to the Giant's Causeway is free, and it is not required to enter through the visitor center, which charges a fee. Other sections of the site are owned by the Crown Estate and several private landowners. The Moraki boulders are unusually large, spherical stones scattered along a stretch of Kokohe Beach, located on the wave-cut Otago coast of New Zealand, between the towns of Moraki and Hampden. These striking boulders appear either as isolated formations or in clusters and are protected within a scientific reserve. They are gray-colored septarian concretions, which were once buried in mudstone and bedrock, but have since been exhumed by coastal erosion and deposited along the beach. The most remarkable feature of the Moraki boulders is their large size and near-perfect spherical shape, displaying a bimodal size distribution. Roughly one-third of the boulders range from 0.5 to 1.0 meters, 1.6 to 3.3 feet in diameter, while the remaining two-thirds measure between 1.5 and 2.2 meters, 4.9 to 7.2 feet. Most are spherical or nearly spherical, though a few are slightly elongated, shaped by the bedding planes of the mudstone in which they originally formed. The Moraki boulders are not entirely unique. Nearly identical spherical concretions, known as the Kutu boulders, can be found along the shores, cliffs, and inland areas near Hokianga Harbour on New Zealand's North Island, specifically between Kutu and Kauhare points. These also reach sizes of up to 3 meters, 10 feet in diameter, and are similarly spherical. Additionally, Katiki boulders, another type of large concretions, are found along the north-facing shore of Shag Point, approximately 19 kilometers, 12 miles south of the Moraki site. These vary in shape, including spherical cannonball forms, as well as flat, disc-shaped or oval types. Interestingly, unlike the Moraki boulders, some of the Katiki boulders contain fossilized bones of marine reptiles, such as mosasaurs and plesiosaurs. Similar large, spherical concretions have also been discovered in several other countries, making them a fascinating and widespread geological phenomenon.